all set up now.
Right. Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming on the second episode of Beyond the Stage. What's up, man? You've been doing all right?
All right. Yeah.
Did you go?
I've been trying this morning training. I never really did this consistently for a while. So it's working out. I'm able to get more exercises in. Workouts are a lot shorter, trying to get to work in the morning. But yeah, I think I might stick with this.
Well, when do you go in?
I go in at 4. Well, I get to work at 7, but I work out at 4 a.m. Get in like about an hour, have enough time to shower and eat, and then get to work.
So, I mean, hour training, that's not bad.
No, not at all. It's definitely different than training after work, after you had 5 meals, some protein and fruit and everything. And then you feel like super strong when you get in there, right? So it's hard getting that same feel in the morning. It comes like towards the end of the workout, and then it's like, okay, I got to go.
See, I always enjoyed working out in the mornings because part of it was because of that feeling that I was kind of felt a little depleted. I liked working out on like a depleted state. I know that's not recommended for weight training, but I like the feeling of being leaner, and then the workout gave me energy to for the rest of the day, like to go into work and all that. It takes a little bit getting used to waking up that early. But once you kind of like get your routine and your schedule down, it's, it just keeps going.
Yep.
The important thing is to go to bed on time the night before. Because if you stay up late, that's it. It's over. Like either you're not getting up or you're going to get up and just have a terrible workout, terrible day.
Yeah. And then like you need some good fuel in your stomach. So try to eat something really good before going to bed, but not be too full so that when I wake up, I still got something good in there, to get moving. So I'm definitely making some adjustments, but so far I'm liking it. I'm getting more workouts in consistently than I was trying to go after work, where sometimes you get caught up and you don't get to make it before the gym closes. And then, you miss the workout for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Brazil. Somebody from Brazil tied in. So
hey.
Give a shout out to them. So I saw on your Instagram stories that you were doing some kind of training with like cupping around the legs. Is that, talk about that?
Yeah. No, I actually got contacted. It was pretty neat. The guys from Fit Cuffs contacted me just through Instagram and asked me to try out their product. It was kind of a prototype at the time. And they were curious about, bigger leg training, seeing if their cuffs that they already had would fit and work. It was perfect during the pandemic, I'll tell you, because when I didn't have a gym, I needed like something extra to really try to help leg train, because I wasn't doing squats, I wasn't doing leg press, none of that was available to me. And yeah, I mean, I definitely was able to keep size and strength by the time I got back in the gym. It's something I've done in the past, occlusion or blood flow restriction. I've done it while bodybuilding. It's a really great way to use lesser weight and more reps to get the same effect as if you were, heavier weight training. It kills, man. It is very painful to do.
That was a big thing, like years ago, right? Kind of like in the 90s, it was big, like that occlusion training where people would just kind of tie off their legs. They didn't have like machines like that, but they would just tie off like a leg or both legs or an arm and just work out. So what's I guess, I don't know if, we're not scientists or anything like that.
No.
But like, what's the idea behind it?
So at least my understanding of it, especially from, I've been using them for, over a year now on arms and legs, is so there's like a feeling that I get when no occlusion bands, no blood flow restriction, where you're working out so hard and then you hit that failure, and that feeling of just your muscles just like it's just so tight and you can't do one more rep. You get that same feeling, at least I do, using these bands and repping it out. So rather than having to load up weight and do squats or leg extensions until you get that feeling, you can do like 4 sets of 20, sets of 30 with the band on, and you'll still hit that point and get that same effect and soreness without having to load up the weight and put the pressure on your joints and things like that.
Yeah.
It was really great when I didn't have a gym, because I was doing body squats. I was doing lunges in this park. I was running stairs, doing all kinds of stuff with them to try to get that same feeling. And yeah, I was able to still keep my size on my legs and strength by the time I got back in.
Yeah. I know Hawaii was really bad, like during the pandemic, as far as like shutting down and everything. Cause I remember a lot of like athletes who are from Hawaii, like they couldn't really even train, to compete in their sport. And we're talking about like
Nope.
professional, athletes. So they
Yeah.
couldn't even go to the gym. So when did that stop? Like, when did you guys get the gym back?
It seemed to be, I think it was down for maybe 3 to 4 months, from late March or early April. And then they did come back open with a lot of rules that were in place about, the cleanliness of the gym and what you do when you're in there. But my gym specifically has been open ever since. And they've been able to stay open. Yeah. I think some places have been in the run between then and now. They kind of had to shut back down and open again from either not following the right practices or having an outbreak over there.
Yeah, it's tough when you don't have somewhere to train. I decided like I was gonna go ahead and load up my my garage with some weights, and just in case things go backward again, at least I'll have that. So I have a pretty decent setup. It's it's obviously nothing like a gym would have, but it it does the job. So
yeah,
it is what it
is.
And
I did the same. I made a few investments. I got a bench and those adjustable dumbbells, bands and things and I still use them. Like, I think that's one thing good I got out of the pandemic, right? Was I learned to get by without having to go to the gym. Right. So sometimes on those days where I just can't make it, half an hour in the garage, still successful, arm, shoulder, leg workout, whatever I need to do.
Yeah. It's funny because I never thought I would, be able to retain like my size, just working out in the garage. But the interesting thing is, it's like once you kind of get to a certain size, it doesn't take much to keep it. It takes a lot to grow, but once you get to a size that you want, you don't need much to, just stay at that level.
Right. And the same thing with what's that? Mature muscle. With age, it takes a lot to lose a certain amount of strength. And I look forward to getting more and more of that mature muscle. Yeah. Just walk in the gym and pick up weight,
That's the one thing that's good about getting old. At least you get that, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday,
old man strength.
That's right. Yesterday I couldn't even really train because I'm doing this project where I'm taking the wheels from my car and repainting them like matte black. So it's like a lot of that was done on the other side of the garage where like the gym wasn't, because it's kind of split in half. So I was like, well, I'm not going to worry about training. I'll just work on that. That's a process, man. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that with cars, but it's like, it takes time.
No, but I thought it was pretty cool. I seen you lifting the wheels, man.
Yeah.
It's like, can't work out in the gym, so just pick the wheels up.
That's it. What was I gonna say? I forgot my I was gonna ask you something, but anyways, that's not important, I guess. If it was important, I'd remember it. So
all right.
Yeah, yesterday my wife made some nachos, which is like one of my favorite meals that she makes. So, but it's not, it's full of like stuff, so it's really calorie dense. And I started thinking about like all the like cheat meals that I had over the years. What do you like to eat like for a cheat meal?
So if I've gone on a strict diet for a while, I mean, I gotta go to something just greasy, man. Like it's either gonna be a couple burgers, and definitely French fries. So like to restrict myself from sodium is like a crime, because I love salty food and snacks and things. And so, when I could just remember, training, getting ready for a show, you don't eat any sodium or just very, very little when you're dieting and stuff. So when your coach or your trainer says, hey, take one meal out, oh man, it's like I'm jumping straight to the French fries for sure. and then definitely either burger, fried chicken, something just greasy.
You know, a big one for me was pizza. Like I could just down pizza like it's nothing. I would get like one of those extra large pizzas, and especially like if they're a gourmet place, like they have a place around here. I believe what is his name, Sal's or something like that. Pizza. It's a local place, but it's like real Italian pizza, and man, you can get like a huge one that's. Dude, I would tear that thing up all by myself. It was ridiculous. It's one of
See,
those.
you're gonna make me eat something today.
Are you on a
Talking about it.
are you on a restriction now? Like, are you
No,
restricting your calories or
so
no?
no, I'm not on a restriction. I try to be really good during the week so that I can get out here on the weekend. You know, with the family, we go and we go out to a restaurant that we haven't tried before, or try something where no holds barred there on the weekend for sure. But throughout the week, I definitely still stick to some meals, try to stay healthy, low carb too. I try to do that too. The low carb thing definitely helps.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
yeah, yeah. That's I saw on stories your little boy. When you put uh Nature Boy on there, I started thinking of Ric Flair. I was like, for some reason, my mind went to Ric Flair.
Yeah, no, he's like that, man. If you leave him indoors too long, he'll just start going crazy, and it's not because he's sleepy or tired. He just wants to be outside.
Yeah.
So then you take him somewhere like this, at a park or by the beach, and he's just cool. So we'll just stay there.
Hawaii is perfect for him, and that's like
yeah. So it really stinks when it rains. That makes it difficult. But when it's not raining, we get outside.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So we talked a little earlier about that whole situation with Greg Doucette and Jeff and Rush, and so like, did you get a chance to catch up on some of that stuff?
I did. So I know about Chef Rush, and I know about Greg, but I didn't know about this whole I don't know, beef or whatever you want to call it, this internet rivalry that started, which is just bizarre to me, the whole thing.
Yeah, originally they were talking about, so I guess Greg like made a video about so Chef was talking about how many calories he eats like forgot the amount, but some ridiculous amount of calories, and Greg made a video basically calling him out that's not true. So apparently what happened was some people went on Chef's page or on Greg's video and started making like racist comments and things of that nature. So then it started going back and forth, and and Chef was talking about how Greg either is a racist or allows that to happen. So I think really the issue comes down to is monitoring your content. Like, what do you think about that? Is someone responsible for monitoring the comments that are made on your video, like on your own video?
Like definitely. Like I think at least something should be said about that. Like if somebody, like if your video, you make content and it has nothing to do with that, right? Like you definitely should be in a place to shut that down or just remove it, because that definitely, like, you can see how that whole rivalry took off from there,
right,
into something that it was never originally about. So and then other people start jumping in, and from the fitness industry, and it becomes this black white thing that really never existed in the first place. It was more about, hey, I think you're doing something unrealistic, that can't be true. And then now it's, oh, you don't like black people, and that's not nothing to do with what it was about.
Right.
And then I think Chef Rush made it a little worse. If you look at some of his comments, he kind of took it there immediately. And it's just I don't know. I think it's a product of the internet too. It's like if you got two people who are trying to get views, or maybe ultimately trying to sell something, get followers, it's like you got to be radical. It can never be just two people having a disagreement conversation about it. It's got to be something wild or offhand.
Right. That's kind of like how you get views right now. It's You gotta, like you
Yeah.
said, it's gotta be sensational, and the more sensational, the better, the better it is. And it doesn't have to be, how can I put this? It doesn't have to be uplifting. It doesn't have to be a building. It just has to bring eyeballs, and that's part of the issue. If you listen to a lot of these YouTubers that have, huge followings, they'll tell you the videos that get the most views are the ones that are like that. Whenever they put out like videos, excuse me, that are more educational, those get barely anything, like just barely anything, because people aren't interested in that.
Yeah, especially like, the average person who's watching fitness content. Um, they're not really looking for sound advice usually. they're looking for, okay, who's lifting the most weight
Right.
and who's doing the most ridiculous things, and that's what they're more interested in watching than, hey, this is actually how you should try to diet, or this is actually a good advice on how to do your morning routine.
Yeah.
So, and I think some of that is what influenced Chef Rush to put that out there, to put out there that he does all 2,222 push-ups, and he
Mhm.
eats 4 whole chickens, and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Where there may be some truth,
Right.
but there may also be a lot of stretching in it, because it's more interesting if you stretch it. It's
Yeah.
more,
Yeah, but exaggerating always gets you a little more views. It's interesting that when he was talking about the push-ups, it kind of made me like think about what's, like how many push-ups could I do in a row, right? Just in a row. And the answer is like probably not that many. I looked up Guinness, the Guinness Book
same,
of the Guinness
same.
Book of World Records on push-ups. It was a Japanese guy. I think he holds the record. It's smaller guy. It's you won't believe how many. Guess how many push-ups he did in a row? Just or like the range. Give me like a range. What do you
I
think?
have no idea. Oh man, I mean, if Chef Rush is claiming he does over 2,000, so I know it has to be something higher than that.
Yeah,
I would think, I don't know, maybe 3,000. Like, it really
over.
can't be that much.
You're gonna lose your mind when you hear this. Over 10,000 push-ups. I think it was like in a row, and it's like I think it was like 10,300 something, but I
Look,
can't remember
if
the
you can
exact.
do 10,000 anything,
Yeah,
like,
that's unreal. Now I would be curious. I didn't actually see the
wow.
video, but I would be curious to know if these are like legitimate push-ups or is this like.
Yeah.
But even if they're not, still 10,000 just moving.
So that's 10,000 without going down, like 10,000 in a row,
Yes,
just
without
off the
stopping.
ground.
Right. Yeah, without stopping, without losing position. Now, I don't know if he gets chances to rest like in a push-up
Like, yeah, in a plank.
position. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still that's not, we're talking about that's a ridiculous number. Any way
That's
you
that's
cut it.
unbelievable. I mean, like, I'm just thinking, like, 10,000 of any movement. Like, if you could do 10,000 lunges or 10,000 squats, like, that's just bizarre, let alone push-ups.
There
Even
was
10,000 curls. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Now I did see one record that I'm thinking about trying to break, and it won't be official because I think you actually have to have like one of the Guinness people there to make it official. But there's a record for a guy holding out a weight of 45 pounds in a straight arm. Um, for 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Now I might be overthinking this, but that doesn't seem like that's too impossible. Like straight
like a
arm,
dumbbell, a dumbbell.
I guess anything like 45. He did a 45-pound straight arm, no bend to the arm, for 2 minutes and 39 seconds. That seems breakable. I wonder.
Like, oh man.
That
Whew.
seems, that seems like you could
Yeah.
break it. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna try it and let you know.
Yeah, yeah. Video it. If you break it, maybe you'll send it in. Get
Wow.
the official, status on that.
Jeez.
But I was a little, I was surprised that your opinion on the whole situation, and the reason being is that you said that you're not too much of a fan of Greg Doucette, and I thought, but you're kind of, I don't want to say you're on his side. That's not, but your evaluation of the situation kind of,
Yep.
you know, doesn't give him any blame, for that. So like, What about Greg that you say you kind of not a fan of his?
So I mean, for me, right, most of the videos are the same. So he does have the accolades of he's an IFBB pro. He's got publications and a successful YouTube and podcast. You know, that's awesome. But he kind of has this like one the whole I have to, you know, the screaming at the camera thing. And you know, it's definitely like a persona that he puts
Right.
on for the, you know, because when you ever hear him talking to somebody else or in somebody else's video,
Right.
he's talking very normal, you know, but then he puts that persona on, and it's, for me, it's just really annoying. Like I can hardly make it through a 20-minute video of him talking like that, like at the camera. And then he kind of, if you look at like his most popular videos, he kind of just he's most popular for this calling people out thing or putting somebody else's content down. You know, and usually I would think if he was to approach some of those people in person, right, the conversation wouldn't go that way. He does have the knowledge and the background to say, hey, you know, I think it's pretty unbelievable what you put out there on Men's Health, right? But if he was sitting right there on the couch talking to Chef Rush, he wouldn't be, you know, screaming at him like that, right? It's like, yeah, he's just a kind of a product of the whole YouTube and the industry, is from my perspective. One other thing about him too is that some people kind of take what he says about everything to be like definite, and this is the only way it can be done. But obviously, you know, his experience is very different from someone else. So, you know, as what I think he said, he body built natural and then also used performance enhancing drugs to also body build. So that gives him a unique perspective. But you know, not everybody can train like him or do like him to find success. So what I'm saying is, like, you know, a 200-pound, 250-pound person or bodybuilder should not be following someone in their form and everything that they're saying about bodybuilding to a T, as if it's, you know, the Bible or something. And I do see people that do that. And it's like, hey, man, you know, just because this guy has biceps, you know, doesn't mean everything he says is how you should train or how you should follow your competition prep. And yeah, that's kind of my biggest thing on him. I really don't like following his stuff, but it always seems to pop up on my YouTube feed.
Yeah, I listened to some of his videos, and I know what you mean about the the annoyance, I guess you could say, of the voice, and it definitely is a shtick, because you know, if you look at his other videos in the past, it's not like that. There's a certain point that he changed, you know, and obviously, you know, it worked out for him, so can't really blame him for that. But yeah, the Gilbert Godfrey voice that he does is after a few videos, I gotta take a break. I can't do too many of them at once. It's like, it's almost like it radiates in your head, you know.
It does. No, it really does. Like I got to turn it off, turn it down. Like,
so what do you think about his whole thing? Is that you know, calories is the only thing that really matters as far as like your weight, primarily for weight loss. I don't see him saying that as far as like gaining muscle mass, but when he advises people to lose weight, he strictly and only focuses on like calorie content as opposed to, you know, like macro nutrition. What has been your experience, I guess, with that?
I'm definitely more on the macro nutrition side. But that's the thing. That's what's always worked for me. You know, even like I guess that was 2 summers ago now. Using macro nutrition and in 30 days, I dropped 30 pounds, you know, and obviously for someone at 250, 60 pounds, it's not that impressive, but it was just like taking a change from what I was eating like, and then just mapping out how I wanted to eat through macros. Yeah. Like, you know, depending on how much you're exercising, you can drop weight pretty easily. The calorie content thing where I think that kind of gets carried away is if you tell that to sort of, you know, again, like the average person, you know, then they're going to think, okay, I can just kind of eat whatever I want as long as it meets this calorie. But, you know, obviously in the short term, maybe there will be some gain there. But long-term wise, I really don't think that works too well, especially just when you're talking about general health. Like, I think you're better off improving your health than just being lighter. You know what I mean? Like maybe you lost some weight over the course of 2 to 3 months, but it's going to bounce back if you don't ultimately make lifestyle changes in terms of just being, eating healthier, making better decisions when you're at the grocery store, things like that.
Yeah, so there's like a couple of things, right? There's like a couple of variables involved. It's the calories are important, obviously, but it's the content of those calories are important as well, like from a macronutrition standpoint. Because, I mean, let's say, like you said, often who's trying to lose weight? I mean, the bodybuilding community, a fitness community, is fairly small compared to the rest, of mankind, right?
Yeah.
Like we're a very small niche kind of community. Probably less than 1%, of people work out. I mean, that's not a fact, but I would have to imagine that's probably close to it. And so if you tell, like you said, a regular person, all you have to do is eat low calories, they're gonna go and eat like low calorie. They're gonna eat like one donut instead of a steak. Like do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though the steak is probably way more beneficial for you, from a nutrition standpoint. And there is that, right? There is that whole aspect of health. Like it's not just about the way you look, it's also about how healthy you are. And while you might lose a pound here, what is inside, like how are you functioning, and it's like you can't tell me
Yeah.
that let's just take the scenario of the donut. You can't tell me that eating a donut, even lower calorie than steak or the same, is gonna be beneficial for you, in any way, shape, or form. So
Yeah. And yeah, like it'll just be misinterpreted usually because you kind of take that blurb, just that, okay, I can lose weight if I eat bacon every day. It's like, technically, yes, you probably could. You could eat bacon in a certain way every day and you can lose weight. But obviously, that's not the best thing for you, especially on the inside. And then there's no longevity in that. It's like, yeah, you can do the pork diet or whatever and be able to drop pounds very quickly. And maybe you'll take some photos after that photo finish. And then after that, like, you're going to bounce back naturally into eating how you were before. So yeah, for me, it's more important. What I'll define as lifestyle changes is getting into good habits of, going to the grocery store and grabbing those more nutritious things than
right.
just, whatever it is that you would prefer to eat, those kind of things.
Right. And a lot of those diets that where you lose weight very fast, they're exclusion, right? Diets, they like exclude a certain, part of your diet, like like you have an all meat diet or all vegetable diet, or you just you eat only potatoes. Like I saw this one guy, it was literally, and there's a book about it. There's literally a book about it where so do you know who Kevin Smith is? He played
haven't heard of him.
Jay and Silent Bob. Have you heard?
Oh, no,
He's,
no, I know what you're talking about now.
He's Silent
Yeah.
Bob, right? So he's a director and everything. Had a heart attack scare, survived it, and after that he went on this diet, and this guy wrote a book about it where literally is all you eat is potatoes, nothing else. So it's like you can have them in any way, shape, or form, but it's got to be potatoes, which is to me, ridiculous. Now he did lose a lot of weight doing it.
Yeah, you're going to for sure,
right? But you basically excluded every type of food except potatoes, and that stuff to me is so bizarre,
Yeah, that's why I kind of when folks do want to have an open dialogue with me about weight loss and fitness, I definitely try to steer them away from focusing on just the scale. I think you'll get a lot more out of it. Obviously, just feeling better every day by diving into a workout plan. Get a little bit of a regimen, sticking to a little bit of a diet, right? Making better decisions there. You'll feel much better about yourself day to day and how you look and how you approach work, as opposed to I've got to drop 25 pounds by my wedding, or I'm trying to be this weight limit. It's like, okay, you can get there. Like there's a lot of different ways you can get there. You can just stop eating. You can get there, but you won't feel great about it. Like, even the, I'm going to do a juice cleanse. Juice cleanses are great. It does clean out your system and you can lose weight that way, but the longevity is not there. Right. And then usually that weight will come back if you don't make any other changes to, your lifestyle.
Right. I mean, well, you're not going to be drinking juice all your life only. So, as soon as you start introducing food or, whatever back into your diet, your weight's going to go back up, so it's
right. But something you can do is, maybe you do find out that you do like these juices. So you put that into your, what you're eating in your diet, maybe have a morning juice drink or with a meal. And like that is a healthy choice that you can sustain, getting nutrients in liquid form. But just the goal of just dropping weight is, it can be done. And it's fun to do, but it's not, there's not a long-term thing unless you make real changes.
Right. So to your point, are you basically saying that your goal should be a healthier lifestyle than just seeing like the scale go down?
Yeah. Because like, I mean, if anybody was to say, hey, I need to drop 30 pounds, I got you, man. I could get you to drop 30 pounds real quick. It's not going to be fun. You're going to feel like crap, but here you go. But if you're like, hey, I'm just trying to get healthier, I can give you some really sound advice on how to be healthier, as opposed to just, I need to watch the scale. The scale really doesn't, I don't know. For me, it really doesn't mean much, unless you're in a sport where you do need to cut weight or meet a certain class or something. But the scale really isn't that important, day to day.
Right. A lot of times I'll see people on Instagram to post a picture of them heavier like now than they were before. Like they'll put a weight at the bottom of like what they were and what they are now. They're heavier, but they look better. And so like, again, to your point, like it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna look better just because you lose weight, which goes back to that macronutrient aspect of it. Like you can drop pounds, like literal weight, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your body is gonna change for the best when that happens.
Yeah. Just I guess what we're discussing then is it's more of the short-term versus long-term. Like, I guess when you're putting your goals together, when people are putting their goals together, they need to really decide what it is that they're trying to do. Some people do have the short-term goal. Hey, I just need to get under this weight for this thing. Right. Whether it's a photo shoot or a wedding or, or they're actually getting ready for a powerlifting thing or bodybuilding. So short term is, it's really important. But then, long term, if you're just talking about, hey, I went to the doctor and he says, I need to be healthier and I'm trying to make good decisions, then you need to think of more sustainable ways, to get there.
Yeah. It's the reason that weight is such a big issue and why people focus on it is it gives you instant gratification, right? Like you see the weight drop, you immediately feel good about yourself. It's hard to quantify health as a, it's like, well, what is healthy? Unless unless you have like cholesterol issues or something and you're like, you watching the numbers go down, that's different. But again, it's associated with numbers. So we're so focused on numbers, like we like to see the numbers move one way or another. And
how much do you weigh? How much do you bench? How
Right.
often do you work out? How many meals do you eat?
Yeah, it's funny that you like how much, and I'm sure a lot of people that watching this and can relate, people that lift. Number one question is like, how much do you bench, right? Like everyone gets that. If you lift weights or you look like you lift weights, usually for men, the first question that is asked is how much do you bench? I get
that one gets on my last nerve so much too. So, in my job, I'm a manager. And so I do interviews. Mm-hmm. Dude, I'll interview somebody for a job, and we won't talk about, we'll talk about the job. Right. And I'm sitting across from them. I just finished, hour-long interview. And I go, hey, so do you have any questions that I can answer about the job? And they'll be like, yeah, bro, how much do you bench? And I'm like, hey, like, come on, man. It's
not about
like,
the job.
Like,
you're fine. We're not hiring you.
Yeah, like, dude, for real?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I get irritated, not because they asked me a question like that. I welcome that. Can you make your question like more legitimate? What is knowing how much I bench, which I don't even know how much, I bench, but
I don't have
what,
an answer either. I don't know.
right. What is that going to do for you? That's not going to do anything for you. Like
Yeah.
ask me my routine, ask me, what I eat, ask me like a more legitimate question that I can, that I need to think about to answer, not the superficial stuff.
Yeah. That's one that I think everybody knows too well. It's just, yeah, the how much do you bench? So I'm assuming so later you can go, hey, I met this guy. He can bench 300 pounds. And, it's okay.
You just start making up numbers.
Like, oh, yeah. Oh, I bench 800 pounds. Yeah. On a regular basis. Yep. Yep. Go tell your friends.
For reps. Yeah. For reps. With blood, like with those cups like around your arms. Yeah.
Yeah. With the bands too. Yeah. Because yeah, that I think the interest is obviously, people, they always, I guess, on Facebook, Instagram, you see somebody benching a lot of weight, but how much you bench has nothing to do with, your diet, how much weight you lose, the aesthetic. You can bench a lot of weight and your chest can look, not that great.
Yeah.
And also vice versa. But yeah, it's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, well, you look at a lot of power lifters, to that point that you mentioned, a lot of them, their goal is not to look a certain way. Their goal is to move as much weight as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're still moving
Yep.
weight. So, but they don't, they don't look like bodybuilders. Or if you walk across them, majority of them, people wouldn't think they're fit people, but so
Yep.
and I'm trying to say this in such a way where I'm not offending powerlifters. That there's definitely powerlifters that are that look great and everything, but
Right.
the general look of a powerlifter is just a massive guy, not particularly lean, and just power, move the weight. That's the goal. So weight is not the deciding factor of all that. So
Yeah, like I think a better question would be is like what's your training style? Because
right.
I could be a CrossFitter or I could be a power lifter. I could be doing Pilates. It's just that'd be a better question than to find out what somebody does. Rather than just how much they bench.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was gonna skip the Q&A because I put up the post kind of late. We didn't get much. I ended up getting one right before we got on, and we actually answered it in the show. It was about what do you think about macros, but I think we kind of covered it pretty thoroughly. So, and you had one as well, I believe. So let's just go ahead and get into it.
So from the last one, I guess because of the cut of the shirt that I had, somebody was like, hey man, how do I get big traps? Somebody messaged me. I thought it was pretty funny, but it is a legitimate question. I think the biggest mistake that I see with traps, or at least folks who are legitimately trying to have, that larger look to their traps, is too many shrugs. I don't think really loading up a bar and doing shrugs is how you get there. I saw the biggest difference in traps and my shoulders from actually doing more raises and more reps than any weightlifting or anything like that. So if someone is training and you're used to doing either dumbbell shrugs or barbell, those are still good to get some blood in there, right? I would recommend not loading up the bar and trying to do more than 20 reps a set. But you'll get a lot more out of focusing on your traps when you're doing your side raises or even your front raises, and even squeezing your traps when you're doing like rear delts coming this way. You can, like, there's two ways to work out. Like you can either, just kind of move weight willy-nilly around, but you can actually turn, any exercise into a focus onto a specific muscle group. So even doing a shoulder raise, which is probably mainly for the delt, you can turn that just from focus into a trap workout by rolling your shoulders back and coming back a little bit, and you're going to feel that raise up over here. Those exercises, lots of reps, you'll get a lot more out of than just let's see how many plates I can throw on this bar and do this 2-inch movement. It doesn't really work that well.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a little bit to unpack there. So genetically, I've kind of had like bigger shoulders, not necessarily, traps, but just bigger shoulders, that area in general. And the way I've always trained was I've focused on raises. And it's interesting that you mentioned that. I do a lot of raises, front raises, side raises. And I know that saying you need to have mind muscle connection sometimes can kind of sound a little corny and people don't really believe it, but
Yep.
there is something to that, right? Like when you concentrate on a particular muscle group, you seem to get better, a better workout. So whenever I would do raises, I would think of my arm, like the lower half of my arm from the elbow down, as just a way to hold the weight. Don't focus on that. Don't strain your arm. Don't strain your grip,
Yep.
and just use just the shoulder and to raise it up and down. Doesn't matter, how this part of the arm looks. Like, if it's flaying, it doesn't matter. This is the part that you need to focus on. So when I did them, I always concentrated on that, and I've always had like great success with that. Now I say I have good genetics with shoulders. Was it from good genetics or was it from good training? Maybe a combination of both. Hard to say. I've been training for a long time, so I definitely give that a try for the shoulders. As far as traps are concerned, yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a point where putting on a lot of weight and moving it,
Just
doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. Yeah.
yeah.
So people will point to Dorian Yates style of training, which he did. He did heavy weights and not a ton of reps. But you got to think, even with not a ton of reps, he still did like full sets. Like it wasn't like Dorian just
Yeah.
you did a couple of reps and then you're kind of moving into that powerlifting scene. And that's not, if you're trying to grow, that's not what you want to be. Not what you want to do. So.
Yeah, and the traps work in a lot of more exercises than you think, right? I think typically, if immediately you ask somebody about traps, or say, "Oh yeah, let's go do strugs," and it's like, well, you can actually get a lot out of your traps from rows, from deadlift, obviously, even just the motion of when you come up, if you can squeeze at the top,
right.
That small motion while holding the bar for. And you got to do more than 5 reps, right? You got to be doing reps to get this stuff to work. That you're going to get something out of that. Same thing with actually pull downs. So, pull downs, usually you're thinking okay, I'm working my lat right now. But actually at that bottom squeeze, when you're coming back and your elbows start pointing not to the ground, but a little bit back, you're going to be getting trap work out of that too. So they're really involved in a lot more exercises than just, shrugs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's tough. It's tough when you have a stubborn body part. Like we all have them. Everyone has a body part that they would like to get, more developed, that is just hard to do, but you have to find ways to see what you can do. And if you find something that you see improvement, stick with it. That's kind of my advice. So, and the other thing I was going to say is, generally speaking, the guys that have, like, let's say like you don't have very good biceps, right? And you see a guy that has great biceps, don't always follow what he says to do, because that guy might have had great biceps just genetically. He might have not had to work for it. For you, that, what he does might not work for you. So you do have to kind of play with it, see what works. Everybody's different. Everybody's body reacts to workouts differently. So,
Yeah, like if someone with shorter arms, like I have longer arms, someone with shorter arms will definitely need to train that differently. It won't look the same. Someone with longer arms, it looks completely different. So even just how you're built, the width of your shoulders, there are some stuff that is just the way it is, right? However wide your frame is or long your arms are, that changes what you're going to do. But I definitely am always on the side of movements that increase the range of motion before increasing the weight. I mean, increasing the weight is fun, and you do it maybe at some point in your workout, but there's a whole lot of stuff, you know, that you should be doing leading up to that or after to actually get that aesthetic that you're looking for, if that's what your goal is.
Yeah. And I mean, resistance is what we need, right? Like we need resistance. So if you're not doing a full range of motion and you change to doing that, you will have more resistance without changing the weight, because you know the positioning of your arms, if you're cheating yourself in your movement, you're probably cheating yourself because it's easier, whether you're doing it consciously or not. So changing and making sure that you do a full range will increase resistance, and therefore will, you know, add more development to your, you know, to your physique. So
yeah, that's well said.
Yeah. Well, hey, we did almost an hour, so I think that's pretty good. But thanks guys for coming on our second episode of Beyond the Stage. We'll keep everybody notified of all the upcoming events and such, upcoming episodes. And what do you got planned for the rest of the day, man?
Oh, hey, daddy daycare. Daddy daycare. Got the day off work, so yep, that's where I'll be.
Got it. You gonna go around to the ocean or parks with him?
Yeah, it's a good day today, so got to take the nature boy out.
Yeah, it's beautiful here in Nashville too. We're having great weather, so that's nice to see. But
yeah, anyways, and just for you, man. Just for you. Yeah. Okay, I took the Black Panther shirt out today since you had it on last time.
Yeah, we're switching it up.
I had to bring it out.
I was thinking about wearing. I guess I do have a Superman shirt on, but I was thinking about wearing another like Marvel shirt today.
Yeah. I'm keeping the trend, man. Keeping it alive.
That's a cool one. We got into watching what's that new episode? The Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah. Oh, every week.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. We need to do a show about that.
We could do about a 2-hour show on that.
Yeah, that's great. All right, man. Well, you have a great rest of the day.
All right. Yep. Take care.